February is a rather quiet month, apart from Fastnacht, Fasching, Carnival, depending on what you call it in your region. And the Google Workspace updates are also manageable in number, but no less interesting. And I have another cool tip of the month for you at the end. So let's see what's new. Record your Google Slides presentation. In the last update video I already showed it in the preview. Now the function should really be available to you. You can now start a recording of your presentation directly in Google Slides. You can also activate your webcam and set its position and size. The recording will then be saved in your drive and you can share it with your colleagues and customers. It will also be displayed in the top right hand corner of the presentation. Drag and drop images into the background of Google Slides. If you hold down the mouse button and drag an image, from your desktop or another website for example, over the edge of a slide and then let go, you can also insert it as a background image. If you move it further into the middle and let go, it will be added as a normal movable image. Change document format more easily in Google Docs. You can use Google Docs in a pageless format that adapts flexibly to your screen size, or in the classic page format, which is particularly useful for printing. The setting for this was previously only available under File and then Page Setup. Google has now added another menu item for this, which you can find directly under Format. New view of comments in Docs, Sheets and Slides. Google is changing the way comments are displayed in documents. If you click on Show All Comments at the top, a sidebar will appear in which you can find all comments and in which you can now also search and filter better. There's also a For Me tab, which contains all comments that require an action from you. Furthermore, you can now minimize the comments on the right hand side. Then only the avatars of the people commenting will be displayed and the respective comments will only be visible when you hover over them with the mouse. You can also hide comments completely. Jump to the place of your collaborators in Google Slides. This function has been available in Google Docs and Slides for a while now. If you click on the avatar of another person who also has the document open at the top right, you will automatically jump to the point in the document where they are currently located. This function is now also available in Google Slides. Link to other spaces in Google Chat. A whole range of helpful smart chips are now also available in Google Chat, which you can insert using the @ sign. Spaces are a new addition, so you can simply link to the respective space in the chat with @spacename. If you copy the URL of a space into the chat, you can also convert the URL into a smart chip by pressing the Tab key. Pin chat messages in Google Meet. You can now pin your message that you post in the Google Meet chat. Pinned messages are then also visible to meeting participants who were not yet in the meeting at the time of the message. That means who joined later. This is particularly useful at the start of meetings if, for example, you share a link to a Miro board or other pages and the participants only arrive one by one. You can only pin your own messages. As the meeting host, however, you can also unpin the messages of all other participants. Pin video tiles for all meeting participants. Another thing you can pin are the video tiles in Google Meet. Until now, however, you could only do this for yourself. Now, as a Meet host, you can also pin up to 3 video tiles for all meeting participants. This can be helpful to focus the meeting on certain tiles, such as presentations, videos or people. However, the meeting participants then have the option of unpinning the video tiles for themselves. Improvements to appointment bookings. Google continues to expand the appointment booking feature in Google Calendar and is increasingly becoming a real competitor to third-party tools like Calendly. You can now add up to 20 co-hosts for your appointment scheduling, with whom you can manage appointments together. In addition, you could previously only create schedules in your own main calendar, but now you can also create them in your secondary calendars. For example, you can also create a team calendar to create shared schedules there. Anyone with access to this calendar can then see and change the schedules or bookings. Please note, however, that the schedule only checks the availability in this secondary calendar and not the general availability of every person who has access to the calendar. Furthermore, people to whom you have delegated your calendar can now also edit the schedules. Previously, this was not possible. Finally, there is an option with which you can set whether and which calendars the appointment schedule should check for conflicts and take into account for availability. For example, you may want some calendars to be ignored because you have set private appointment blockers that are less important than a customer who wants to book an appointment with you. New login window. After years, Google is now adapting the Google account login window. However, not much has changed. What was previously a rather vertical layout is now a more horizontal one. Preview. New annotations in Google Docs. In March, a new function will appear in Google Docs that allows you to make handwritten annotations. This will allow you to describe your opinion or point things out better than in a simple comment. Tip of the month. Link Google documents with each other. Do you need a certain presentation slide again and again in new presentations? Or do you have data in a Google Sheet that you also want to display in presentations or reports? Then you should know how to link documents with each other. I show you how to do this. Let's assume you have a Google Sheet with certain data. In my case, this is now an overview of the sales we made last year with our various products. I need these figures for an annual report that I create in a Google Doc and also in a presentation for the board of directors. Instead of writing these figures manually in the report, I can simply select them and copy them with Ctrl or Command+C or by right-clicking. Then I simply paste them into Google Docs. When inserting, I am now automatically asked whether I want to insert the table linked or unlinked to the Google Sheet in Docs. I show you the advantage of linking in a moment. After I have copied the table in, I can also customize it a little in the doc. For better visualization, I can also copy and paste the diagram in the same way. And then I also have my presentation. The diagram is enough for me here. Here too, I can simply copy it and am asked again whether it is linked or unlinked. I will now demonstrate the advantage of linking. There are always figures and data that change. Let's assume that the accounting department has noticed that there's a transposed figure in the tire revenue. This is corrected in the sheet with the annual revenue. Normally, I would have to realize that there was an error that was corrected, and I would have to manually adjust the figures in my report and presentation. However, because we have inserted the data in a linked format, an update button now appears to indicate that something has changed at the source of the data. Now, all I have to do is click on Update and I automatically have the corrected figures in my report. And also in the presentation. Pretty handy, isn't it? You can not only link data from sheets to docs and slides, but also slides to each other. A slide like this one with an overview of the company facts is always needed. So when I create a new presentation and copy the slide to it, I am asked whether I want to copy the design and whether I want to insert the slide linked to the original slide. The advantage is the same. If I now change the number of employees in my central company presentation, for example, I get a button in all other presentations in which I have pasted the slide in a linked manner to indicate that something has changed, and I can adopt the new number with one click. I hope this function will save you a lot of manual work or outdated data in the future.